Hi, this is Kenneth, and welcome back to Common Hawthorne. I'm doing Ethony's 31 Days of Tarot 2020, and today is day 30, although I'll mention that day 27 was what's the strangest place I've read in the last 10 years, and I've only been studying tarot for about 9 months, and I haven't really read anywhere except in my own home or in a hotel room while traveling. And day 28 was ever turn someone from a tarot non believer to a tarot enthusiast? No. Although I have, after spending several months getting into tarot, as I talked about it with some friends and coworkers, discovered that they are actually into tarot, which was a pleasant surprise. And a few people who have not become enthusiasts are in fact interested in tarot and what I'm doing with it simply because they know and love me. And so that's been nice to see. And day 29 was top 5 underrated tarot decks. I am still in the accumulating tarot decks and throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. And so don't I don't really know that I have the perspective to say that any of the decks I have are underrated. So today, what tarot card do you feel best represents me? Art, meaning, vibe, and why? Um, I've pulled a whole bunch of cards. It's all the same card, but I've pulled it from a bunch of different decks. And this is, um, I feel like this is the card that is the significator for me in almost every instance, the Queen of Swords. And as one of my friends said, "Ooh, Queen of Swords scares me," but it's like, well, no, it me. Um, so this is the Queen of Swords from the Smith-Waite Centennial Edition. So it's kind of a recolorizing of it's Pixie's artwork. Um, but I do like her. She's very stern, and there's that sword, very obvious. And I have never done any readings with this deck, but it's kind of a hoot. It's the Golden Art Nouveau Tarot, and she also has a rather stern demeanor, which I kind of like. And then one of my favorite decks, the Sasura Ibido, has this Queen of Swords. Um, Visually, it's an okay card, um, but the way she is like whispering to the sword is pretty wonderful. That sense of communion with the mind. Um, I like that, and less of the other ones kind of has the cutting through, um, and this feels more like being engaged with. And then I'm sharing it just because the Lightseers Tarot is one that people like these days and talk about. Um, she seems a little too pensive, um, for me, rather not very decisive, and um, there's kind of more emphasis on the flags in the distance than on the sword, and there's this interesting little cup down here, um, and I don't really feel like my emotions are captive or anything. Um, So anyway, I share this just because it is a lovely drawing style, even though this particular card doesn't do much for me. And then the Paulina Tarot, which you probably can't see very well because that's what this art is like. Um, I do rather like her. There's that very kind of mysterious and perhaps dangerous face, and she's got these interesting attendants. Um, So I like that one, Paulina. Another deck I have not yet worked with, but the Otherkin, I like this. Queen of Swords. Um, that hawk, um, cutting through the air. Something that I use in my email signature is by Ursula Le Guin. It's in the front of the Wizard of Earthsea books, and it's supposed to be from a poem that's set in Earthsea called The Creation of Ea. Only in silence the word, only in dark the light, only in dying life, bright the hawk's flight on the empty sky. So I like that. And then from the Spacious Tarot is this Guardian of Swords. And again, I like the starkness of it, and the marriage of flight um, with the sword. So there's that. And then my last two are two that I take great joy in the imagery themselves, and perhaps other people might think that they're kind of cheesy, but and not cheesy in a light way. This is the Tarot of Dürer, which is not artwork by Albrecht Dürer, but it's uh, in his style. Let's see if that'll focus. But anyway, I like her. The fox on her lap. I think that foxes as cunning, wily. It's really interesting that the sword is broken. But I like the artwork of this deck in general, and I do like this particular queen in the deck. And then the last one is from the Rackham Tarot, which the kind of the artist tarot by Lo Scarabeo that actually use artwork by the artists are somewhat, I think, less satisfying. For instance, this is actually art by Arthur Rackham, unlike this, which is not art by Albrecht Dürer. It's only inspired by him, and so it actually conveys. It's drawn to convey some meaning of the card, whereas this is only something that's close. Although I love the fact that it is a Valkyrie. She really looks like a Queen of Swords to me. So I hope that those are at least somewhat in focus, and if not, well, a little Google search may give you an image. So once again, this is Ethony's 31 Days of Tarot 2020 by Kenneth, me, at Common Hawthorne. Thanks for visiting, and I hope that you found something of enjoyment or edification here.